There is a mobile game that became a global hit as soon as it was released. With no complicated controls, no items, and no leveling system, it still captured the world's attention through its artistic visuals and deeply moving music. It went on to win 3 awards at the 2015 Game Developers Conference: Best Innovation, Best Mobile Game, and Best Visual Art. That game is Monument Valley. Many players who experienced it found themselves enchanted by its impossible architecture and the sense of achievement that comes from solving its puzzles. But many also noticed that as a puzzle game, it seemed to hide a deeper story beneath its challenges. The ghostly old woman's dialogue and the overwhelming number of sarcophagi at the end both feel like clues waiting to be uncovered. To find that story, I played through Monument Valley and its DLCs, and I also researched the studio behind it. From all this, I believe I have discovered the tragic tale that the game is trying to tell. So now, let us step into this world of impossible architecture together. The first chapter is the tutorial. By tapping the lever, you can rotate the structure and the pillar slowly transforms into a flat surface. This is the core of Monument Valley, the combination of architecture and geometric art. Ida then walks gently up the stairs, and as the game's title appears on the screen, an unforgettable journey begins. This place is called Monument Valley. The name comes from the way its buildings rise like monuments in a quiet, uninhabited valley. The scenery is beautiful, and it feels like the perfect place to relax and clear your mind. By rotating the lever again, you connect the road for Ida and guide her to the goal at the top. There, she makes a strange gesture. She takes off her hat, and from it flies out a glowing cube-like object, a piece of sacred geometry. It feels as if she were returning something she once borrowed. After this, Ida lets out a deep sigh of relief. So maybe she is not here just to travel. This girl must be hiding a secret. This is a temple hidden deep within the valley. 2 towering structures with colorful flags fluttering at their tops create a solemn and majestic scene. We guide Ida to the top, where she steps on a switch that rotates and connects the 2 buildings, allowing her to enter the temple and explore inside. Waiting for her is a ghostly old woman. From the way she speaks, it seems she knows Ida, calling her the Silent Princess. Yet her tone suggested that Ida was not welcome here. A hidden section of the temple slowly rises from the darkness. Ida climbs to the top, takes off her hat once again, and another piece of sacred geometry flies out. Now we arrive at chapter 4. This is a palace built on the water, surrounded by a beautiful and serene environment. A new puzzle element appears here, requiring Ida to walk along curved surfaces on the walls. She presses a switch, and with the sound of rushing water, the palace suddenly rotates. To our surprise, a magnificent waterfall is revealed. Crossing above it, Ida discovers a bridge unfolding before her eyes. Deeper inside the palace, Ida meets the ghostly old woman once again. This time, she no longer hides her resentment. She directly calls Ida the thieving princess. What could Ida have done to earn such hatred? In the next chapter, we encounter the Crow people. They do not attack Ida, but they block her path and shout at her as if releasing their anger and resentment. As Ida enters the tower, the ground begins to shake from beneath the earth, and Yellow Totem slowly rises. With its 2 big eyes, it looks almost cute. On the journey ahead, the totem becomes Ida's loyal companion, helping her solve tricky puzzles. Working together, they finally reach the outer walls of the castle. Ida once again takes out a piece of sacred geometry. As the platform slowly descends, it transforms into a small boat that carries her toward the open sea. But then, an astonishing moment happens. The totem smashes through the wall and leaps into the water, desperately trying to follow Ida as her boat drifts farther away. In the end, the waves overtake him and he disappears beneath the sea. Many players felt a deep sense of regret at this moment. Yet, as you learn more about the story of Ida and the totem, you may find it even more moving. The small boat carries Ida into Chapter 7, the Crow's Nest, where countless crow people live. Since they move back and forth along fixed paths, Ida cleverly figures out how to use their movement to solve the puzzles. Inside the nest, she meets the ghostly old woman for the 3rd time. This time, the woman reveals the origin of the crow people. They were once citizens of the kingdom. But one day, the kingdom's sacred geometry was stolen, and as a result, they were cursed and transformed into what they are now. Under this curse, the poor crow people are doomed to wander endlessly among the monuments, suffering without end. The woman's final words carried a deeper meaning. Foolish princess, have you forgotten too? What could she mean by that? After parting with the ghostly woman, Ida arrives at a place that looked like a throne room. The crow people sit neatly on both sides, as if they were ministers of the kingdom, yet the throne itself remains empty. Chapter 8 is called The Box, and I think it is the most creative chapter of all. The entire royal castle is designed like a box, with each side opening up to reveal different shapes and puzzles. It feels like a toy you could hold in your hands and play with. When all the puzzles are solved, the final animation is truly stunning. Next comes Chapter 9. Ida appears on a lonely island. From the royal castle to this island, the game never explains what happened in between. At the top, she picks up a small red flower, and suddenly the island begins to rise. Along with it comes our old friend, the totem. Many players must have felt a sense of surprise and joy when they saw the totem return. With his help, Ida enters the inside of the island. The first impression here is that it looks like an Egyptian pyramid. In earlier chapters, Ida always had to climb upward to reach the top, but this time she must journey underground. With the interior so strongly resembling a pyramid, many players already had an idea of what might be waiting below. On her way underground, Ida passes by a mirror. In the mirror, her reflection is a white bird wearing a crown. Could it be that her human form is not her true self? Moving forward, Ida finds the ghostly old woman waiting for her once again. She speaks of sacred geometry, saying it can bring prosperity and it can bring ruin. With this conversation, the story of Monument Valley finally becomes clear. This was once a bird kingdom built in the valley. The kingdom flourished thanks to something called sacred geometry, but the princess of the kingdom was not content with her bird form. She longed to become human. One day, she secretly stole the sacred geometry and achieved her wish of turning into a human. As the old woman said, sacred geometry is both the source of prosperity and the cause of downfall. It could make the kingdom flourish, but it could also lead to its ruin. And this time, Ida's mistake was far too great. The kingdom faced more than just decline. As Ida continues down the staircase, the depths of the earth reveal the tomb of the kingdom's people. The consequences of stealing this sacred geometry were devastating. Ida's actions led to the death of all the citizens of the kingdom, including her own father, the king. Their souls were cursed and transformed into the crow people. No wonder they cried out at her in anger. Determined to atone for her sins, Ida hopes to seek forgiveness by returning the sacred geometry. The object she has revealed in every chapter has been a piece of that sacred geometry, but will returning it truly earn her people's forgiveness? In the center stands the tomb of the old king, Ida's father. Ida slowly walks forward and places the red flower she picked earlier upon his grave. The mystery of the game is revealed, and the story is about to reach its final conclusion. But will Ida truly be forgiven by her people? In the last chapter, the most difficult one of all, players must rotate the structures again and again to discover the right path. After Ida returns the final piece of sacred geometry, the entire kingdom begins to turn and slowly fall apart. The curse of Monument Valley is lifted. Ida has finally earned her people's forgiveness. Together, they leave Monument Valley behind, bringing Ida's unforgettable journey to a close. But what about the totem? To fulfill the players' hopes, the developers released Forgotten Shores a few months after the game's launch. This story fills the gap between Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. As Ida continued her descent, the path began to collapse. With the lava waiting below, the totem appeared from its fiery depths at the crucial moment and saved her. On the journey that followed, the totem once again became her companion, guiding her safely through the challenges ahead. In the 5th level, Ida had to pass a massive waterfall, but huge boulders from above blocked her way. The totem held up the falling stone without hesitation, allowing them to move forward into a cave. But inside, an even heavier boulder was about to come crashing down. To let Ida escape, the totem used his own body to hold it back. At the very moment Ida walked past behind him, the totem finally could not hold on any longer. Ida could only watch as the totem was crushed to pieces and fell into the abyss. She walked out of the cave in despair. For the first time in the game, this girl who had never shown her face to the players slowly turns her face toward us, as if to let us feel her sadness. The following levels are almost entirely in shades of gray, reflecting her grief. During the long journey, Ida had grown used to the totem's company and support. Without him by her side, her world felt completely gray. In the final level of the DLC, Ida arrives at a ruin floating on the ice. When she steps on a switch, we are surprised to see a piece of the totem's body pulled from the depths. As the puzzles unfold, she gradually finds more pieces of the totem's body. Reaching the top of the ruins, Ida presses 4 switches and the totem is finally revived. With his big, adorable eyes, he looks at Ida once again. These two friends from different worlds are finally reunited, ready to continue their adventure together. And with that, the story of the DLC comes to an end. In addition to Forgotten Shores, the first Monument Valley also received Ida's Dream, another DLC created to meet the expectations of players. In fact, the developers of Monument Valley never gave a complete or detailed storyline. They believed that short lines of text, together with carefully designed visuals, could give players more space for imagination. Just like Hamlet, they wanted each player to have their own interpretation. No 2 interpretations are exactly the same, yet each one feels right. When we saw the sadness of the totem falling into the sea, or the shock of discovering endless tombs deep underground, these moments were left open for our imagination. Monument Valley is truly a masterpiece worth revisiting even today, and it is also one of the best entry points for casual players into video games. I even recommended it to my parents and older relatives, and they really enjoyed it. This is something very few console or PC games can achieve. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. That would be my biggest motivation.